Shadow football. Over this past year, Sarina Wiegman handed out a total of 4 new caps to form very deserving players. One to serial hugging machine Grace Clinton.
Amazing.
One to Mrs. 229 Millie Turner.
That's my number now, I'm 229. That's my new nickname.
One to custard cream fanatic Jess Naz.
Oh, do you like custard cream? Love it.
And one to the best juggler in England, Aggie Beaver Jones.
Just been asleep in the car as well, I'm impressed.
With the Euros coming up next summer, Wiegman's England squad looks to be in a decent place, and the focus from here until the tournament will be to continue blooding the younger players and creating squad depth outside of the starting 11. These players will be looking for more game time to add to their fresh Lionesses experiences and make a push to secure a spot in next year's European Showdown. Nevertheless, I have decided to do my best to predict the next 5 new Lionesses, keeping in mind that these debuts can come at the end of the year or even in a couple of years. Please do leave your opinions down in the comment section below, as I would love to hear what each and every one of you think. Pretty much every England player rose through the age groups and made the transition into the senior setup, and this is something that I have considered as well when making my list of 5. However, the number one aspect in my consideration was looking at England's current depth chart, and figuring out which positions need some new blood. This is the current, and in my opinion, active depth chart that England have. And as you can see here, the midfield especially needs some depth, as Wiegman has played Stanway as a holding midfielder before, and Park, Toon, and Clinton have all auditioned as a box-to-box midfielder, even though I think all 3 of them are better as number 10s. Niamh Charles is the only out-and-out left-back in the team. Jess Carter is filled in as well, but doesn't offer as much attacking threat as Charles. For some reason, Alex Greenwood hasn't been asked to fill in at left-back when needed, even playing Rachel Daly there during the last Euros campaign despite selecting Alex Greenwood in the squad. Lucy Bruns is getting up there in terms of age, so a couple of younger fullbacks will be needed as well. Wiegman has played Manchester United captain Maya Letizia there. Jess Carter and Esme Morgan can both come in and do a job at right back, but none of them are natural fullbacks, so further reinforcement for fullbacks on both sides will be needed. I'd say the most concerning positions for Wiegman to build depth will be in central midfield and the fullbacks. So, now that we've gone over the England squad, without further ado, let's begin the list. My first pick, and probably the most obvious one, is England under-23's captain, the scousest woman of them all, Missy Bo Kearns.
The most scouse thing about Missy Bo is...
Probably the lip filler.
Wow!
She's been a part of the last few England senior camps and looks to be next in line to make her debut in central midfield. At Liverpool, she would fluctuate between playing as a second striker, an attacking midfielder, and a box-to-box midfielder. With the signing of Marie Herbinger last season, Matt Beard's preferred midfield 3 seemed to be Herbinger, Holland, and Nagano, limiting her playing time as she would find it hard to nail down a starting spot. But at Villa, she started every league game so far, and Robert DePaul seems to trust her in his midfield. She always looks like she can run a marathon after every game because she just has so much energy and never seems to get tired. She's got a wand of a right boot, tenacious in defense, but also loves to attack, constantly looking for runs in behind the defense to provide goals and assists. She has an eye for goal as she does like to make her way into the box looking for a shooting chance. Oh, and did I mention that she has a wicked right boot? Her set-piece delivery is incredible. Villa is seriously missing out if she's not their permanent set-piece taker because just look at these! If she establishes herself as a starter at Villa this season, then I think an England debut will come quite soon enough. Oh, and also, her right boot is wicked. I don't remember if I mentioned it or not. It's really, really good. Sticking to the midfield, there are a lot of young and exciting talent coming through the ranks, and Laura Blinkilde-Brown looks like a very promising prospect. Mainly playing as the box-to-box midfielder in the midfield 3 for Aston Villa and now Manchester City, she's a player with good technical ability and plays a simple passing game, rarely overcomplicating things, and keeps her team ticking. She constantly looks to receive the ball in between the opposition defensive lines like so, putting herself in a threatening position and looking to attack. She's also great at finding space in behind the opposition defense. Her movement off the ball is a massive strength in her game and necessary for a box-to-box midfielder. Moreover, she's really good at timing her runs into the box, making herself hard to track and scoring her first ever WSL goal last season in this fashion. A bit like England and Manchester City legend Frank Lampard. She's far from the finished product though, as she does lose the ball more often than she would like due to her indecision. It seems like an issue with her confidence, but this is something she'll undoubtedly gain through playing more minutes. The next step for her is to be braver on the ball, as she's got excellent feet and vision, but oftentimes she will take the safer option and go backwards. There were instances against West Ham like this one where she received the ball in a good spot, had the space in front of her to drive forwards as Una Siren was on the wrong side of her, but decided to go backwards. Or this one, she receives the ball from Shadow Football's 2024 WSL Player of the Year, Hasegawa Yuri. She had the time and space to open her body up and either shoot or cross the ball, but she instead went for the first option she saw, which was a ball to Fujino, and ended up losing possession in a dangerous area. I'm hoping she can consistently feature in Gareth Taylor's team, as I think she's too good of a talent to waste on the bench. The next 2 seasons will be the ones to keep an eye on Blinkilde Brown, as we can really see her blossom into the midfielder that her talent suggests. If we go back to England's depth chart, I'm sure you'll notice the abundance of centre-backs that Sarina has available to select from. Centre-back is the position that England don't really need to worry about depth-wise, which is why I've picked Naomi Lazel. She's replaced Esme Morgan in the City squad as someone who's naturally a centre-back but can play anywhere across the back four, as she's appeared only as a right-back so far for her club. The best compliment I can give her is that she makes defending look easy, displaying maturity way beyond her years. Her positioning and reading of the game is elite, as she's rarely ever caught out of position. She's calm in possession as well and displays a high level of vision for her passes. She's a very, very brave defender, as she constantly puts her body on the line to win headers, and check this out for a game-saving block. Incredible! She had an extraordinary game against Barcelona in the Champions League where she scored her first ever professional goal, and provided an assist so good I thought it was Hasegawa that passed the ball, since I watched the game on my phone on 480p during my lunch break at work. The Wi-Fi doesn't even reach our lunchroom. I had to use 4G or 5G data or whatever it is now. She hardly ever puts a foot wrong when she plays, and it's so exciting to see her go from strength to strength this year. With Kira Walsh the only proper holding midfielder in the team, I think Leicester City midfielder Ruby Mace will make her debut most likely after the Euros for when they're building a squad for the 2027 World Cup. She joined Leicester permanently in the summer because there's a nifty little player called Hasegawa Yui ahead of her at Manchester City. She's still a really raw talent that's still finding her feet in the WSL. Technically excellent with a fantastic passing range, she's comfortable with both feet, and what I find most impressive about her is that she's constantly scanning the pitch to see where everyone is, and isn't afraid to dictate play from her number 6 position. She had a great game against Arsenal, where she played a simple yet necessary passing game, rarely taking more than a few touches and making good passing decisions. She performs the role of a 6 very well, cleaning up any messy ball and starting her team off to attack through simple passing and controlling the pace of the game. However, her defensive game still needs a lot of work. She's great at defending the edge of her own area, but her positioning in the middle third isn't quite there yet. Knowing when to press forward and when to stay back in position is a tough aspect to master as a 6, and that's something Kira Walsh is very good at. She did well to shut Frida Mornham down, but she needs to be a lot more decisive and aggressive in her tackling as she was repeatedly dribbled past easily by the Arsenal midfield. Moments like this is an aspect she really needs to improve on, as she either needs to fully commit to tackle Russo, or back off, let her turn, but stay with her and force the opposition to get past you. She does neither, and Russo gallops up the pitch with no protection in front of the Leicester back line. Her positioning and defensive decision making is something she really needs to improve on if she wants to take her game to the next level. Nevertheless, she's a player with huge potential, and I think her England debut will come provided she can fully establish herself at WSL level over the next couple of seasons. I'll admit, this was between 3 players. The first one was West Ham fullback Anouk Denton. and if there was a number 6 on this list, it would have been Chiara Keating. But I've gone with the bold choice of a player that hasn't even played in the WSL yet. Newly signed by Tottenham Hotspur this past summer, Ella Morris is an exciting young fullback that has all the tools to become the starting right back for England. Able to operate as a winger as well, she loves to get forward and provide beautiful crosses like this one for her teammates. She's a very positive player that always tries to play the ball forward, and given how Sarina likes her fullbacks to attack high up, Morris, in my opinion, is the strongest attacking fullback that hasn't played for England yet. Her best games for Southampton last year came mainly as a right wing back when they played a back three, as she's given more freedom to bomb forward with fewer defensive responsibilities. Against WSL opponents last season in the FA Cup and Conti Cup, she was caught out of position a number of times as Manchester United and Arsenal both targeted her side to attack. However, this is an easy fix and regular game time for Tottenham will improve her defensive capabilities. She's been out injured during the start of the season but looks to be fit again with her vying for a place in the starting lineup. Just imagine Ella Morris on one side and Niamh Charles on the other side for England. Now that's a fullback combination for the future. The aforementioned Anouk Denton is full of pace, good with both feet, and always looking to get forward. I feel like Denton lacks a bit of an attacking edge at the moment, but hopefully with Shimizu Risa joining Manchester City, she'll be looking to make that right back spot her own at West Ham. Chiara Keating has been a part of pretty much every England camp over the last 12 months, but she seems to have lost her place in the City starting 11 with Yamashita now the preferred number 1. I still think she'll play for England one day, but that chance might come later on now that she's hardly playing for her club. With Mary Earps, Hannah Hampton, Ellie Roebuck, Kayla Rendell, Lucy Thomas, and Anna Morehouse all at Sarina's disposal, it'll be tough for Keating to break into this current England team in my opinion, but I'm sure her debut will come, just not right now. With the lack of depth at fullback, I really wanted to include more than one, but I had on my list Anouk Denton, Poppy Pattinson, and Asmita Ale. In terms of midfielders, Brighton's Maisie Simons deserves a mention, as does BK Hacken's Ruby Grant. Sarina has actually capped a lot of young forwards already, like Katie Robinson and Ebony Salmon, and I feel like they'll eventually earn a recall to the national side, so I didn't actually have a lot of forwards on my radar, with only Missy Goodwin making my preliminary list. England have a lot of bright, young talent coming through, and the depth they're creating is very scary, and a massive luxury to have at their disposal come the tournament next year in the country that's famous for producing Toblerone, the CERN Super Collider, the world's longest railway tunnel, LSD, and Roger Federer. Sarina Wiegman will look to build a squad that has two very strong options in each position. Having each spot be a selection headache is a good problem to have for a manager, and I'm very excited to see who she will potentially cap next with international friendlies rounding out the year for the Lionesses. I might be horribly wrong with my predictions, but what's a fun prediction video without a couple of brave calls? One thing's for sure though, is that Missy Bo Kearns has a wicked right boot.